Alright guys, welcome back to Game 5 of the day here in Starladder Season 8, Day 10 on Beyond the Summit. Back-to-back games here. We are running a little bit behind, but a short break nonetheless. Thank you for joining us once again. I'm Zyori, with me is Merlini, and we've got Fnatic in their second of 3 matches today. And we'll see how they fare against the mighty Alliance. Merlini, my friend, how you feeling coming into this?
Fnatic's feeling coming into this.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
Traditionally, Fnatic has done very well versus Alliance, especially in the past few weeks. They beat them out, I believe, 1-0 in MLG, and they beat them out 1-0 in at EMS at LAN too. But then again, Fnatic is looking much stronger on LAN than they have been online, and that's pretty much been the story for them for the past few months. So Alliance with an overperformance today, I think that was a pretty convincing victory versus Na'Vi, and Fnatic dropping a game to Poseidon. So I would say Alliance prior to today were slight underdogs, but going in today, they should definitely be the favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. So it should be an interesting match nonetheless, and hopefully Fnatic have worked out whatever issue it was that caused that last game to end so poorly for them. They had it in their grasp, and it just slowly swept away. So, or swept away. We'll see how they fare here, though. Let's take a look at this draft a little bit. Again, Nature's Prophet going to be early on in the Fnatic draft, but Alliance are going to grab themselves an Elder Titan and an Alchemist, so going to get to see some more Elder Titan action. And now Dragon Knight going to be that third pick. So, again, a lot of pushing power here for Fnatic with their first 3 picks. Very well could transition into a super aggressive kind of all-in push lineup with these first 3. But, of course, time will tell.
Pretty difficult to push into Elder Titan, though. Like, the threat of getting a few man stomped, like once he gets a couple levels in stomp, is just way too much to deal with. Combine that with, like, a acid spray plus... Earth Splitter and then Unstable Concoction, that's just way too much to deal with. And yeah, they have some tanky heroes, so they can survive with like a Chen Heal, Dragon Knight, with a ton of armor, but at the same time, it's not something that you really want to deal with against an Elder Titan. The 5-on-5 already goes in the way of Alliance right now, so Fnatic, if they want to push, they're going to have to push when Alliance isn't there, just drag them around the map.
Yeah, and we'll see what they do here. Probably going to be that Alchemist mid once again, as you were just sort of talking about. But we'll see. Could always switch it up. Still a very open-ended draft for Alliance for sure. But no Veno or Visage here, Merlini. A lot of those powerful supports have been banned out as well. The CM and the Enchantress. Kind of curious what Alliance are going to grab in the way of support here. Very well could end up being a support Alchemist, depending on how they want this to transpire.
Could be a support Windrunner. EGM plays that, I'd say, a decent amount. Ooh, going back to the Wisp. Cool.
Alliance with the Wisp. If anything, I would have thought it'd be Fnatic here. So interesting choice.
Yeah, interesting choice indeed.
So I'm actually trying to remember the last time I saw Alliance grab a Wisp. Is this something that they do well? I mean, is this probably going to be just an EO Alchemist
I mean, they
pairing?
used to be like really good with Wisp, though. They won at TI3 with it. They won against it. So pretty much every team just had a ban Wisp versus Alliance like all the time. But I haven't really seen them too much with it, especially since 6.79.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. I mean, of course, there was a while where Wisp was great for a lot of the teams, but yeah, 6.79, it's been sort of that Fnatic signature hero a little bit. So this is really going to be interesting. As we've been talking about, Alliance sort of expanding their repertoire a bit here in 6.79, and I think this Wisp pick kind of follows suit with what we saw, especially after that Doom pickup as well. Should be pretty interesting.
Yep. Doom ban for Fnatic, too. They were clearly watching the Alliance Na'Vi game.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's a lot of options for Alliance. So like I said, this is a very open-ended draft. They could do EO Alchemist. They could go with something classic like an EO CK or EO Tiny. All of those still viable if they want to go for that route. And in the Na'Vi Alliance match, if you did miss it earlier, it was an S4 Alchemist. So a solo mid Alchemist last they picked him. But time will tell for sure. Fnatic maybe considering how much they want to commit to push here. Pugna is still in the pool if they do want to do an all-in pushing strat.
Yeah, still waiting for the draft to come out. I wouldn't say that anything's really unusual. Maybe like Wisp picked a little bit later, and Alchemist drafted like a little bit earlier than normal. But other than that, it's fairly standard with the Enchantress ban out from Alliance. Chen is a natural pick. Nature's Prophet, we just saw how much they like to run it. DK, just a
10
much
seconds
more
remaining.
Hani hero than the Magnus for sure.
5 seconds remaining.
Sorry about that.
Alliances
LDPM
turn
to me
to
real
pick.
fast. So it is going to be a Rubik. Just going to go pretty standard here. Same support they had. Can't go wrong with a Rubik pick here. Guess always good when there's an Alchemist on the field. Concoction is a pretty scary ability to steal.
Yeah, we might see the same problem that Na'Vi faced when they paired off versus Alliance, in
10
that
seconds remaining.
Alliance has a lot of these tanky heroes, but Fnatic doesn't actually have that much damage.
5
Nature's
seconds
Prophet doesn't have that
remaining.
much damage. Chen not that much damage. Rubik, same thing with him too.
Yeah.
And I believe Navi's lineup was Puck with a Enchantress
Fnatic's
with
turn to
a
ban.
Windrunner, and I guess it's like similar. Puck has like similar utility to Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight more single target, Puck more AoE. Rubik doesn't actually do that much damage, and Chen equivalent, even less damage than a Enchantress, I'd
10
say. So
seconds
if
remaining.
Alliance picks like a very tanky core and just fights
5
Fnatic
seconds
often,
remaining.
and Alliance did when they played it off versus Navi, then they're just gonna have a lot of trouble bringing down Alchemist,
Alliances
bringing down
turn
Elder
to
Titan, and
ban.
especially with the overcharge and Tether to deal with too, it's going to be extremely problematic if Alliance gets off to a really good start.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime there's a gyrocopter paired with an Elder Titan, that's always cause for concern. That natural order compared with all the
10
AoE that
seconds
gyrocopter
remaining.
does. Sometimes you'll just see teams get melted. And also with Acid
Fnatic's
Spray on
turn
top of
to
that, a
pick.
lot of teamfight synergy between the Alliance heroes here. And wow, an
Alliances turn
Anti-Mage
to
final
pick.
pick for Fnatic. So this is going to be one of these games where Fnatic going to have, I guess, the late game carry advantage with an Anti-Mage and a Nature's Prophet, but getting there is going to be the struggle. I think Alliance going to have room for a little bit of mid-game aggression that Fnatic may be hard-pressed to deal with. As you mentioned, that lack of just mid-game damage output.
They
We'll
need a
see.
lockdown for Anti-Mage right now.
Yeah.
Like a Visage would be
10
perfect for
seconds
them, but obviously
remaining.
that's been banned out way earlier. I wouldn't even. I
5
would say that
seconds
like Lion is
remaining.
not even that bad here. They can go with the Nyx Assassin too.
Yeah.
Nyx Assassin not that great for 5 on
Reserve
5 though,
time.
but they need like at least one more disable for Anti-Mage, I'd say. Gyrocopter Homing Missile and Alchemist Unstable Concoction not gonna cut it. Anti-Mage is certainly damaged though, and
Hmm.
that is their fallback plan in case they're like kind of try push with Nature's Prophet Chen and
Yeah.
Dragon Knight doesn't really work out for them. So Fnatic with a well-rounded strat, Alliance more. Just I guess
10
both of them have pretty
seconds
well-rounded
remaining.
strats. Ooh,
Whoa, Death Prophet going to be
whoa,
the
whoa,
final pick.
whoa.
Did not see that coming.
Loda Death Prophet. Oh, that's
Oh,
locked down for Anti-Mage. If they can force fights before Anti-Mage gets his Manta style, he's just gonna die if he gets silenced like over and
yeah.
over and over again. So I
Wow.
like the Death Prophet pickup. It's gonna be a safe lane Death Prophet, which means that the tower's gonna fall a lot, which means Fnatic might actually have to react to Alliance's push instead of the other way around.
Hmm.
I think it's really who starts to pressure early. If you see just like Death Prophet running around trying to defend against pushes and being real inefficient while Nature's Prophet TPs around, then I think that Fnatic will win out in that regard. But if Alliance they push early with Death Prophet and they pick off Nature's Prophet a couple times so he can't split push, their Fnatic's going to be forced to react to the Death Prophet, and they're going to be really inefficient
Hmm.
and lose all their
10
towers
seconds
very early.
remaining.
Yeah. I was originally thinking a Puck could have been an option here if they wanted to
5
move
seconds
Alchemist into a different
remaining.
position, but seeing Alchemist in that primary role, I think you hit the nail on the head. I like this, giving them a little bit of pushing power to make Fnatic think twice about that Rat Dota style, and it'll be interesting to see a truly kind of hard carry Nature's Prophet here being played by Loda, as you mentioned. And that silence, we always, I always like to mention that little bit of utility that Death Prophet brings to the table with that silence, and this is a game where I think we'll see that utilized a bit. This cause for concern, though, as always, Nature's Prophet is a solo mid hero, generally really needs that experience. Level 6 is the name of the game for Death Prophet in the early stages, so in that solo lane, definitely going to have a little bit less experience gain, but we'll see who he's up against. That's really going to be the decider. Is it going to be a try-on-try? Well, not ever going to be a try-on-try, I guess, since they have Chen, so it'll be sort of a try versus a duo with Chen in the jungle at worst. So going to be an interesting game. Excited to see how Alliance fares with Death Prophet, because, again, we're going to go back to it here. Trying to expand that repertoire. Death Prophet is not a hero that Alliance has utilized all too much, at least not that I'm aware of.
I think it's really cool that Alliance just like swapped out their strategies too. Like almost always, I would think of Gyrocopter as like the Loda hero, but they're going back to what they did before, which is run Gyrocopter as a support sometimes on Aki, and they pick a Loda hero last, which is completely through Fnatic for a loop, through me for a loop, and let's see if they can actually utilize it to great effect. Admiral Bulldog also playing a hero that he's not played too often, but still played a decent amount on the Elder Titan. We'll see how he performs on that. I would say his Doom performance was slightly underwhelming, definitely not on par with his Clock Bounty Hunter, Nature's Prophet, and his Lone Druid.
Yeah, I can certainly agree with that, but give me your thoughts here. Seeing that we have Ake on the Gyrocopter, any thoughts about the Ag Scepter on Gyro? Is there ever a time when that global call down becomes particularly useful?
No, because if you really want to, if you really need to push lanes out, then you just get BOTs instead. On a support Gyrocopter, you're almost never going to be able to afford a Scepter 2. That's like a huge luxury, and if you're a support and you can afford that, you would almost prefer a Sheep or like just something way more useful than that 4,200 gold sync, I would call it. I mean, having a global is nice, but he has it's like you're still able to like get it off a decent amount of time anyways. It's like pretty long range, Flight Cannon pretty long range too, so you don't ever have to like be that much of a like that far in team fights. You shouldn't be the one getting caught out.
Yeah, it was. There was actually a Reddit on Reddit this morning, I think, looking at dedicated to Scepter and all the heroes that it's absolute garbage tier on, and Gyrocopter made the list of never buy Scepter on this hero. So I thought, maybe an Ake Gyro, maybe, but it's still pretty bad. One of those kind of Scepter upgrades that it's sort of cool in conception, but when you think about it in practice, really hard to warrant the 4,200 cost, kind of as you were mentioning. So, all right, let's go ahead and introduce our rosters here as we have resumed, and it looks like Hani has finished up his bit of family matters, whatever it was he had to tend to. So on our Radiant side, we are going to have Team Alliance. Loda going to be playing on the Death Prophet down here in the bottom lane. EGM going to be supporting on the Wisp down here in the bottom lane as well. And Ake going to be supporting on the Gyrocopter. In the mid, going to have S4 playing on the Alchemist. And up in the top lane, Admiral Bulldog going to be doing some solo long lane Elder Titan action in this match. On a Dire side, we've got Team Fnatic. And in the bottom lane, going to be a long lane Nature's Prophet played by Trixie. In the mid lane, going to be Hani playing on a solo Dragon Knight. And then up in the top, we will have Era hard farming on that anti-mage. Fly going to be supporting on the Rubik. And of course, No Tail going to be in the jungle on that Chen. And he's going to be starting off on the Dire side of the map.
Looking to see what No Tail does in this early game. He does have a smoke on him, and they do have a very aggressive Zebra ward on top. Fly trying to zone Bulldog out. Bulldog does have his boots early though, so scouting over here, seeing that the camp is not taken, he'll know that Chen is actually at the other big camp, and that's useful information. Or Chen could be on bottom, but he knows that Chen isn't there, so he's free to trade at least a couple of blows with Fly on bottom. Alliance has 2 wards on the bottom lane too, really trying to protect Loda. S4 should be okay mid. Even if he dies, it's not that big of a deal. Alchemist doesn't really need that many items to be useful, which is why sometimes he's in this support role.
And in this mid matchup,
Aki
on
bottom.
Down bottom, yeah, they're going to come his way. Are they going to grab Trixie? Nope. Going for it. There's the tether, but not so sure they're going to be able to finish him off.
Smoke from No Tail. He's ready to gank mid.
Yep, he's got himself a Centaur as well.
S4 doesn't have a flask. He might be able to get his bottle, but it's going to come out too late. Actually, he's going for the chicken snipe.
Yep, same as last time. Might be able to make it happen here. He's in the position. He knows it's coming.
Oh, he's going with low grounds. Wow. Or the lower route. That's just really smart play by S4.
Wow, maybe he was watching earlier.
No Tail wastes his smoke, wastes his time, and he knows that S4 has his bottle now, and now he's forced to kind of give it up.
Yeah. So in the mid, there we go. S4 going to connect with a concoction on Hani. No follow-up there.
Admiral Bulldog about to get a haste on top.
Yeah, he's going to grab it. And No Tail going to be in kind of an awkward position here. Nope, not going to pursue it.
He didn't have any mana for stun on S4. So if he had a mana for stun, maybe they can chase it out. But without that, there's almost no kill potential there.
Yeah. So Alchemist versus DK. I would think that Alchemist has a bit of an edge here just because Acid Spray works so well against melee heroes to try and zone him out.
It works well versus range heroes, to be honest. The AoE on it is just massive.
It's true, it is pretty wide.
It's not. I mean, it's not that bad for either side. Both of them just going to be able to farm out. I would say that like Hani has a slight edge because you can just spam out Breathe Fire for creep kills, whereas S4 can't. I mean, you can spam Acid Spray, but it's not going to guarantee you creep kills. You're still very likely to get denied.
Yeah, because it should be a fairly even mid lane. I guess that's.
Bloda already has a Ring of Basilius, and he can start pushing bottom if he wants to, but he needs levels, firstly, and without any summons to, no Chen, no Enchantress, the pressure's not going to come up for a long time, so that means that Fnatic doesn't really need to rotate with their supports. I mean, they don't have to rotate to defend, they can rotate to kill, which is a very big boon when you don't have to defend your towers or really support. You can either play greedy and just get level 5, 6, 7 on Chen, or you can just zone Elder Titan out. There are just many other things they can do besides having to worry about that push. But they should be worrying about it come like 6, 7 minutes in.
Yep. And Admiral Bulldog just roaming his way towards the mid lane. He is only level 2 right now, so he has really just been zoned out of that top lane. And he is struggling in terms of initial farm, but so is the Nature's Prophet. They're pretty much on par with one another. Trixie is actually only level 1, so Elder Titan up on him. And Trixie is just 0-1 in total creep score. So one thing that Alliance have been doing very well is maintaining lane control in this safe lane. I suppose Fnatic have been doing it pretty well also, but Loda just not giving Trixie any sort of gift here down in the bottom. And Dragon Knight going to bottle up the 4-minute rune here. Is going to be an illusion at the top position. So he's going to get a little boon there as he heads back to lane. And Nature's Prophet, we always worry about that experience a little bit, but Loda's been pretty much solo in this lane. Both Ake as well as EGM have been moving about the jungle, picking up farm that way. And just waiting for that level 6 mark before they do some sort of a big push onto this tower.
Very quiet early game. Anti-Mage also went for a Ring of Basilius of his own in case they want to take the tower with Nature's Prophet and Chen. That option is open to them if Elder Titan completely ditches the lane and the supports are preoccupied. Era, very, very good on CS, 33 and 14 compared to 31 and 9 on Loda, so both of them about equal. Now the push begins for Alliance, but without Ghost, it's very difficult to kill the creeps. Oh, well, actually, they're going to... They could potentially kill Trixie if he gets tethered, but it's very difficult. He does have early boots, but he is still level 1 right now, so only 1 Treants, and he actually just has mana for another one. He might actually die here.
Yep, some Spirit's going to hit him. Ake going to harass a bit. Loda going to throw the Crypt Swarm. And that's going to be the end of that as ports come in. One of them going to get canceled here. Up in the top lane. Nope, just going to exchange some blows.
That was Anti-Mage's TP.
Yeah. So Loda still not quite level 6, actually in the early portion of level 5, so it is going to be at least another wave, if not 2, before they can really pressure that tower hard. But oh, in the mid lane, S4 almost in a little bit of trouble here. Hani, is he going to pursue it? Nope, not going to dive it. Courier nearby as well. But S4 will live to tell the tale. Looks like there is going to be a rotation. No Tail smokes up. And Fly actually going to be smoked as well. It looks like they do want to put some pressure onto S4 here. Hani going to be an Elder
Hani
Dragon
doesn't have enough mana for a stun, though.
Yeah,
which is a really big deal. If he had mana for a stun, they could go for a kill.
They're thinking about it.
He has ultimate up. I don't think they have enough damage to do so. They will kill the chicken, though.
Yep. Oh, there it is. Going to pick it off. Looks like it was just hanging out for a bit of bottle crowing, but S4 going to luck out just a bit. He does grab that 6-minute rune. It is a double damage, so he is going to get, well, a little boon there and be able to regen up. Again, another wasted smoke from Fnatic. That's 2 now. No Tail trying to find opportunities here. We see him drawing on the map to go top, but as soon as he does, Bulldog just heads back to the well. Not giving this Chen any room.
They still can't really push a tower, though Chen is only level 4. I guess if they take the creeps behind the tower, they can, but nothing, a simple rotation from the support. Trixie actually gonna die. Oh, no, he has phase boots.
Oh my god, and of course I missed the... Catch the tail end of the first blood here. Yep, does step just a bit too far forward, kind of caught in no man's land. And now that he's down, this tier 1 in the bottom lane is destined to fall low to level 6, but not even going to need to use the spirits. They'll just be able to finish it off. Although, Fnatic going to counter push themselves. They're going to pressure that top tier 1 tower. Some support is going to come its way. Got Elder Titan and S4. S4 low on mana, but does have a double damage on. Going to charge up the concoction. We'll throw it on No Tail. And he's just going to go for it here. We'll get telekinesis. Now S4 going to be forced to retreat. Era going to be able to finish him off. Nicely played by Fnatic here. Now Bulldog going to fall. And Era will blink forward, ends up dying to the tower, but still a 2-for-1 exchange. And this top tier 1 does fall. Trixie comes up to assist in the little bit of pushing.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, Alchemist did not have his ultimate when he ran into there. He could have waited a little bit, but the tower was under so much pressure that he kind of was forced to go in at the time. And no TP from any of the supports either. It's just their offlaner and their mid, and now Hani's going to get a free tower in mid.
Yep, exactly right. May get denied here. Nope, going to throw the Dragon Tail to ensure it does not, and he grabs that last hit. Nicely played by the Dragon Knight. Going to make it 2-1 here in total tower count, as Fnatic starts to pull ahead just a little bit here. About a 1,600 gold lead, something like that. Maybe closer to 2K, 1,800.
Is under attack.
Well, not a bad start. Era's actually doing pretty well for himself as well. On the net worth chart, he is #1, about 500 ahead of the leading farmer on Alliance, who of course is the Nature's Prophet. Why did I say Nature's Prophet? The Death Prophet. Corobulus down there. Loda's still farming away, but Era getting slightly the better of it. Does have a Claymore and Ring of Health, so about halfway to that Battle Fury. Looking like it will be a well-timed Battle Fury.
Yep, this is very bad position for Alliance. They only have one tower down there, like behind in kills, but they're looking to change that around with the stun on Era.
Oh yeah,
Nice
Era in big
silence.
trouble here. Stun silence, down he goes. Pretty bursty as well. Again, I caught the tail end of it, but they do get a much-needed kill on the anti-mage. Now going to use the Exorcism, and we'll start pressuring this top tier 1. But uh-oh, the wraparound. Here come Flying Trixie. They're going to telekinesis right on top of Loda. Hani going to come in as well. There's the stun onto S4. Although Rubik is going to be the first to fall right here. Now Chen going to get taken out. Kind of a disaster for Fnatic. They're going to lose 4. Hani the only one left alive. And perhaps not for long. S4 going to try to pursue here. He does have the concoction up. Going to charge it up. He is going to follow Hani into the trees. A port is coming in. Not sure who it is yet, Kip. Yep, going to be anti-mage. And another stun going to come out on top of the anti-mage. They're going to try to continue pursuing this Era. The tether going to break. Era going to blink forward. And now EGM going to be the one that's caught with his pants around his ankles. Down he goes. Stuck in no man's land, nowhere to go. I think Alliance still coming out ahead, though. Going to be 6-4 following that fight as we approach the 10-minute mark.
Nice, the phase drum build on Death Prophet. My favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
You like,
definitely my
like
favorite.
the drums on Death Prophet?
I think it's really important on her. If you go arcanes, it's like she doesn't have enough survivability with arcanes. Oh yeah, it's nice to be able to spam Crypt Swarm, but I think it's nice just to have the intel, and you can have the moves be for survivability, and it's really good offensive potential to be able to chase people down with the Exorcism, and it helps your team out a lot too. And that's like a lot of the reason why Death Prophet is like not too useful. She like doesn't actually like help your team that much. Like silence is nice and all, but not having a stun, not having like any auras or something like that, not having like a blink initiation really hurts. But when you have the drums, you just do so much damage with your team, and you can just run around the fight. She is also a hero that is heavily dependent on mobility. Somewhat similar to Necrolite. Like if you can't move around in fights with either of those heroes, it may seem like like their skill set doesn't really dictate that they have to move around the fight that much, but it's just so important to be able to get those 6-second silences. It's really important to be positioning yourself with like death pulls with direction with Crypt Swarm too, and just be able to focus people down with Exorcism. So it's really important that she can move around the fight, and phase drums definitely helps with that build. And on top of that, once you get the Yules, it's the 521 move speed build. Once you pop your phase, you're at 521 move speed with the recent somewhat buff to Witchcraft.
Yep. Yeah, I was just going to say, what's going to be the next choice for this Death Prophet? And it looks like, well, Voidstone, not too indicative. Could be a Bloodstone, could very well be a Yules. But
Yules is really nice because you can Yules Anti-Mage and you can silence him before he blinks. Usually it's like both of them have like similar cast animation, so it's really just who gets it first. But with Yules, it's almost guaranteed you get the silence on Anti-Mage, but that's just pending he doesn't have a Manta style, and pending that Chen doesn't like send them back in time before they can burst them down. They do have enough burst though with Alchemist, with Gyrocopter. They should be able to bring them down in a 3-second Chen teleportation. Chen's not even close to that level where he can have a 3-second TP though.
Well, looks like the mid lane going to be under heavy pressure here. Spirit's going to be used by Loda. Also important to note, Anke on that Gyrocopter doesn't have much to his name, but he did pick up a relatively early hand of Midas here. So as this game goes on, he is going to start to transition into a little bit more of a carry, even though he's starting off in that support role. Loda going to venture a bit far forward here. Not even going to pressure the tower that hard, just going to start chipping away at Hani, trying to zone out the forces of Fnatic while the rest of the team pressures the tower. Glyph does come out from Fnatic. And Alliance just going to be a little bit cautious here. Loda's ult about to expire, and it is going to go down. The Glyph will keep this tier 1 alive, but the fight's not over quite yet. Fnatic do still have some potential here. Now, Anti-Mage going to get a lot of free farming room, but here we go. Engage going to start, and Rubik going to be the first to fall. Now a Port going to come in. EO going to be the second to fall. Ake going to be in big trouble here. Call down comes, not going to be on point. And I don't think Ake is going to be able to survive this one. The Hand of God comes out. No Tail trying to move around the tower, but it won't be enough. He's going to fall, and Era going to be able to finish off the Gyrocopter. So far it is a 2-for-2 exchange. Both sides getting a relatively even trade. The Mana Void comes out onto the Death Prophet, but not going to do a hell of a lot. Only level 1 as well. He's only level 9.
Trixie, free tower on bottom, maybe.
Almost. Nope, now the Radiant Glyph going to be used. Port comes in from S4. And looks like he is going to go for the deny. Trixie trying to get it. He gets it. Very well played by the Nature's Prophet right there. He's going to grab himself that tower kill. Now the concoction going to come. Acid spray. There's the tether. And Alchemist will be able to get a bit of revenge.
Now EGM's level 6 too, and now the game will change a lot, I think. Especially if Fnatic wants to put split pressure with Trixie, he's going to die often. With S4, I guess they can TP with Gyrocopter if they really want to, but they don't really have a stun to stop his immediate TP, so the most likely candidate is S4. So EGM should be hooking up for most of the game. The T1 tower in mid did survive, so that was a good thing for Fnatic, and also Anti-Mage survived. He does have his Battle Fury right now. His farm is coming out, and Alliance has to do a lot of damage before he gets his Mantis style, or else they're not going to have a sheep or anything really to deal with him once he starts coming to team fights. That's a big stack.
Yeah. It sure is. What do we got here? Is it a triple? No, 4? No, a 5.
Quad stack.
Couple of golems. Yeah, Hani gonna start to clear that out. Well, that's the end of the mid tier 1 tower. Alliance gonna be able to push it up here, and they may continue pressing forward, but Anti-Mage, well, pressuring this top lane a bit. Trixie gonna join him as well. They may start knocking on this tower. They could trade tier 2 for tier 2. But nope, Alliance isn't having it. They are gonna back out. And they are going to engage. There's the Wisp ulti. It's going to catch Trixie. And that's going to be a kill going the way of Alliance. A nice hold right there. Anti-Mage will survive as he does take a different route. And he is just going to port back to safety. Going to port to that tier 2 in the mid lane. So yeah, very well-timed Battle Fury here for Era. Still number 2 on the net worth chart. Loda continuing to rack up the last hits in terms of creep kills here. And they're going to be able to clear out that last tier 1 tower. So we do have
tier 2 is going to be under fire soon. Yeah. And Fnatic's ahead in gold right now, but they won't be for long. Because they're split, their push is a little bit slower, and they're still waiting for Era to ramp up his farm. Oh, actually, looks like they want to defend.
Yeah, Alliance are going to back up here, or at least 2 of them going to port back. EGM and Ake on their way. Relocate is not up, so they are going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Though S4 may find something of interest here in the jungle. Who's going to find the initiation? That's really what it's all about now. Era, he is going to get silenced. Not going to be able to finish him off. They are just going to go for Flying Stag. Call down going to be enough. Out comes the Yules onto the Hani. And I think Hani going to be in a little bit of trouble here. No Tail going to try to port out. He's going to make it. And there it is. Hani in the trees. They're going to catch him. So that will be a 2-for-0 in the Radiant jungle. Kind of an odd engage. Both teams sort of in disarray when that started. And Alliance just come out a little bit better.
Both teams had vision, too. If only one team had vision, it would have been a much different fight. Like, if Alliance didn't have vision, they wouldn't have just channeled the Alchemist Sun and running willy-nilly into them. And if Fnatic didn't have vision, I think it would have been a lot worse for them. But overall, Alliance coming out really far ahead. The Ghost is just extremely damaging in team fights, too. And Fnatic does not have the firepower to deal with it. Once they get the Manta style on Anti-Mage, they can, but he's actually going for Vlad's because he feels like his team is too far behind for him to do that. And these towers are just dropping like flies. They've taken down, what, 3 towers in probably 3 minutes time. Gold Leaf finally in Alliance's favor, but they do have to continually worry about Era, but not Trixie so much though. Trixie does have a Force Staff, but he is still vulnerable to the Wisp TPs, and he isn't able to damage the T2s, and that's going to be a really big problem for Fnatic coming up.
Yeah, they're putting a lot on the back of this Anti-Mage right now. His farm is great, and the rest of his team is sort of doing all right until you get to the supports, and that's the big gap right there. Both Rubik and Chen are very poor compared to the Wisp and the quote-unquote support Gyrocopter, and I think that's where Alliance may start to shine, because even though Anti-Mage is the harder carry, they've got a Gyro as well as an Alchemist, and they're both farming reasonably well here, though Alchemist is going to grab a mech, so not going for that Shadow Blade kind of hard carry route, but yeah, Alliance going to have a fair bit of carry power themselves as Gyro continues to get more and more powerful here. I mean, he's nipping at the heels of Trixie in terms of net worth. He's about 5K, Trixie at about 5.8, so
Aki might actually transition into a damage build. He has Midas on him too, so Alliance's late game is nothing to scoff at either.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fnatic
EO has a Ring of Health for some
be
reason.
a little bit of trouble. It's going to be all about that anti-mage. I think a BKB may go a long way here because they have a fair bit of crowd control, but of course the spirits are physical, so BKB not going to be the end-all be-all for anti-mage in terms of survivability. Definitely.
That's also why I think Death Prophet's a really good hero, because you're kind of forced to get BKB because of the silence, but BKB also doesn't help you versus ghosts. You need like a Ghost Scepter, so like she has a good mix of damage too.
Yeah, absolutely right. Prevents that BKB from just being the trump card for the rest of the team. But last, we are going to see some more tower exchanging. Alliance going to keep up the pressure. Loda actually going to burn the ulti so they can win the tower race here. The tier 2 in the top for the tier 2 in the bottom.
They're going to push T3 and force Fnatic to come back before they push to T3.
Yep, they've got the clear pushing advantage here. Both towers do fall. And Fnatic not interested in porting back quite yet. Fly is the only one right now. He is the lone defender. He's going to get caught in Yules. And, well, he very well may fall, pardon me. But we'll see. There's going to be a port back down to the bottom. It's going to be Gyrocopter. And he's going to try and defend. Fly does fall in the top lane. And this bottom tier 3 is about to fall. Top tier 3 does go down as well. This is definitely turning into a base race. Both sides committing to it. Racks are exposed, but of course, Alliance do have the advantage here. Perhaps not. They are going to go back. They're going to make it happen. They're going to try and fight and go head-on with Fnatic. Era just trying to focus down the racks. Melee racks fall, but it is going to cost him his life. And they're going to be able to finish off the Nature's Prophet as well as he tries to port out. And we see No Tail in no man's land. No Tail has a Blink Dagger. That's, wow. Blink Dagger on Chen. They're going to port back. And actually, Fnatic going to come out the victors here. They do defend their top lane of racks, and Alliance will lose their melee down in the bottom lane.
Wow. All in all, I'd say that's about an even trade because they lost Era. Losing Era is a really big deal at this point in the game because he is their late game potential, especially since Nature's Prophet went up 4 staff. He is not going to be doing that much in team fights. He's a good utility for putting pressure on the map, but for actual damage and winning team fights, he's kind of useless. So all will ride on Era going into the like 25-minute phase of the game. Alliance, they have map control right now, especially with relocate, but at the same time they are racks down. If Fnatic can get the next Roshan up on Era, that's going to be very difficult for Alliance to deal with. If Alliance get it, they still have to worry about the split push from Fnatic. So the Roshan is not actually that important for both teams, I'd say, because Era still needs to farm. Even if he gets the Aegis, he can still just die twice.
Yeah, definitely right about that, but Alliance really do have a lot of momentum here. Big 7,000 gold swing over the past 10 minutes or so. 15-6 as we pass the 20-minute mark. And S4, he's going to go into a well, nice utility build. Mech into Sanj and Yasha. Going to get that best of both worlds there. A little bit of extra damage, a little bit of extra health. But with that, Alliance are going to group up. They're going to pressure this top lane of racks. They are going to be able to clear it out. Exorcism comes. Nothing Fnatic can really do here. No glyph available. No way they can fight into it. But Admiral Bulldog's going to be in a little bit of trouble, perhaps. Nope, going to be fine for now. Hani going to have that BKB on. He's going to stand his ground for the moment. Still taking a lot of damage here. Fly actually going to be the first to fall in this fight. And sort of erupting into chaos here as Anti-Mage not with him. He's going to take out the tier 2 in the mid. So at least finding a positive. EGM almost going to fall. One more attack. That'll do it. Hani going to be able to finish him. And that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. But of course the Lions get what they came for. And now they're going to be forced to go back to deal with Era, who is chipping away at that tier 3 in the mid. So I guess well played by Era right there, at least grabbing that tier 2 tower, finding a positive. And that will be enough for his Yasha as well.
Yep, he almost has his Manta style, which is going to be very important for him because then he can split out of the silence and Trixie putting pressure on bottom too. Now Alliance is at that point where, well, can we actually put enough pressure on you? Our 5-man is way stronger than yours, but are they going to actually be able to find the fights? Fnatic did a good job of delaying there. Yeah, they die with a couple of their heroes, but it is still important to delay that push. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Aki trying to defend against this push. He is actually going for MKB, it looks like, next. And that's going to be really important when a 5-on-5 actually erupts. But for now, it's all about positioning, all about mobility around the map. And it looks like Fnatic, with the slight upper edge there, taking out Roshan. And that with their lineup too, with Anti-Mage, the blink from him, the global teleport from Nature's Prophet, as well as the send back from the Chen, Fnatic can be around the map even more so than a Wisp can with relocate.
Yeah, absolutely. And Roche is going to fall here completely uncontested. Alliance not in a position to do anything about it. And of course, Anti-Mage going to grab the Aegis now to join his Vlads and his Yasha. And double damage rune to boot, so he's just going to clear out the jungle here and continue soaking up the farm. How's Loda doing right now? He's going to grab himself a Shiva's Guard to go with that Yules, and also a casual Vitality booster for the moment. Very well, could be a Bloodstone at some point, but still, Shiva's a pretty solid pickup here. Always good against carries. And going to give him some much-needed survivability. A lot of armor on that Nature's Prophet, or I keep doing that, Death Prophet as well.
DP.
DP.
MP.
DP, MP.
They're trying to push again. Fnatic, even with the Aegis, again, it doesn't really matter that much for team fights because he can't just like run in and tank and absorb a lot of spells. He only has 1,000 HP, so one unstable concoction, like halfway charge, will kill him, and they can kill him a second time if he uses Manta with silence and or another unstable concoction or whatever it may be. So Fnatic still has to be extremely careful. They kind of still have the dodge fights. Looks like Alliance is just going to try and get this tower before they have to defend the T3 in mid.
Yep. But it could be a race again. The first port back is going to be Ake. He is the lone defender at the moment. Call down going to be used to try and clear up these creeps a bit. But anti-mage. Oh, there it is. Era now. Pardon me. Loda going to be back as well. He is going to burn the ulti. Going to use the Shivas as well. Going to try and catch No Tail. He's going to port out. He'll survive. And it's going to end up being just a free tier 2 tower for Alliance as Alliance does port back. And, well, a little bit of damage going to befall their tier 3 in the mid, but still has quite a few hit points to spare.
Yep,
Nice
now
hole.
they can take mid, but Ghosts are still down for 60 seconds, so they can't really do that much damage, especially with the Aegis on anti-mage. Without the Ghost to bring them down, it's going to be a losing proposition pushing up that T3. So they need to wait out until Death Prophet's ultimate is up. They also need to push out their lane so that Era doesn't get a free T3 or possibly a free Rax in mid too. So let's look at how long until the Aegis comes down. 4 minutes on that, and Era already has his Manta style up. So now he's getting to that point where they have to worry about him. Gold lead, slight favor of Alliance right now, but not concentrated on the on heroes that actually have like useful items in countering anti-mage. Like Death Prophet has Shivas, that's not good or great at killing him. It might help her survive a little bit. Gyrocopter has MKB, but still not that great against split push. He can already defend against waves with just call down and flat cannon, and then no sheep coming out soon. Alchemist also going for SNY instead of let's say like a Shadow Blade to get the jump on anti-mage.
Yep, still not a big fan of that SNY here, especially in this matchup, but
Oh,
we'll
the,
see some
the
initiation.
initiate from Alchemist.
Yep, down here, No Tail just going to try and port out, and anti-mage going to do the same as he gets his faith tested and heads back to the well there. So, crafty little play. But alas, the ranged Rax do stay alive for now for Alliance in this bottom lane. And Trixie just going to port out as well. Really an odd match. Both sides.
Who are the kings of Rat Dodo?
Yeah,
Who
both
do you
sides
think?
opting for that split push with a lane down, sort of this odd playstyle now where both sides have to be very focused around defending their base from the lanes.
Both the teams are really good at executing it and at defending against it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like they're pretty much equal in that regards. If you had like a score point and each of these teams' strengths, Rat Dodo would be like a 10 out of 10 for each of them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty tense match right now. This anti-mage is really starting to pick up momentum, though. And you said 25 minutes is that good point where you really have to do some damage before anti-mage takes off. And we're at 25 minutes. That's exactly where he is. Yeah, you're exactly right. Fly going to get caught by the Yules, and they'll have enough damage to finish him off. That's going to be a 5v4 here to start off this fight. Rubik not going to have
Era's
the
so
buyback.
far away from the T2.
Yeah.
And even if that T2 were down, he still would be way too far away from the base, so they have to defend.
Yep. So, anti-mage is going to port back. The glyph has already been burned. Still going to have some duration on these ghosts here. But Alliance being very cautious. They're not going to overcommit. Still looking for the right opportunity. Hani did burn his BKB, so they may have an opportunity once that's done. Lara going to hop in. They're going to try and finish off Loda. Era taking a lot of damage. He's actually going to be the first to fall. He does have the Aegis, so he's coming back. Chen got taken out in the mix. Hani going to be forced to retreat. Era going to be silenced upon revival. And are they going to have any kind of crowd control to shut him down? Nope. They're just going to try and walk away here. Buyback coming out from Hani on the Dragon Knight. Still Alliance getting the much better of this engage. Glyph down, this tier 3 tower in the mid is destined to fall. Still a 5v4 on the field. Chen dead for another 15. And it looks like this mid lane of Rax may fall.
Era almost has the Manza up. Now
Yeah.
he can go in.
Are Alliance going to commit to this? Without the Ghost, it's kind of hard. They've got 35 seconds left before it comes back up. S4 in the front lines, though. He's pretty tanky. Doesn't have the Chemical Rage. It did just expire. So now he's going to have to be a little bit more careful as well. Going to throw the concoction onto Hani, just trying to zone him out, trying to buy time to finish off this melee Rax. Down it goes. Now Alliance can feel free to retreat. They don't need to worry about this ranged. And they're going to do just that, it looks like. Well, they're going to be cautious, I guess. They're not going to go in full retreat mode yet.
They just need to wait for their cooldowns to come up. They need to wait for Flak. They need to wait for Mech, which they just used. Chemical Rage almost up on Alchemist. 6 seconds on Death Prophet Ultimate. They can just win the game right here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The cooldowns are up, and we'll see how Alliance want to react here. Again, they could back up, but no, they're going to go for it. Nature's Prophet. Again, damn it. Death Prophet going to use the ulti. I really don't know why I keep doing that. I know they're completely different. Trying to break free of that Crobulus, and it's turning into Nature's Prophet. So this bottom tier 3 going to fall, though. Again, no glyph available for Fnatic. Stun onto the Rubik. Call down going to be used. Already this tier 3 tower is just crippled.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Although Alliance playing this a bit cautiously here. Still not trying to overcommit. Recognizing the power of Era. He does blink forward, test of faith back.
Ghosts are done, so it's time for them to back off. Death Prophet almost has his heart too. Wisp has a Lincoln, surprisingly, and Elder Titan has BKB. Anti-Mage, he didn't die that fight. He died with the Aegis, but I think Alliance can make a push again before the next Aegis respawns. Fnatic with the next Aegis, I think they can take the fight. Anti-Mage is almost powerful enough to take them on, but at the same time, like Loda, as you saw, they went on him there. They BKB with Hani, they Dragon Tailed him, and Anti-Mage blinked on him with Anti-Mage. So you have 4 heroes beating on you. You don't really have any AoE stuns. I think they already used Concoction. That's why the Dragon Knight BKB'd, and still he survives. Very nice play by EGM, hooking up with him and using the overcharge on him. But if Death Prophet dies, that push is done for. But he gets really low, about like 15 to 20% HP, heals up with the Exorcism, and then they win the fight from there. So it's very important that they keep Loda alive. Loda is the single most important hero to keep alive. And if he dies and buys back, he doesn't have Ghost. So they have to keep him up before he dies, and buying back is not going to solve anything. Buying back with any other hero will be completely okay. Maybe not S4 because he won't have Chemical Rage, but they can just hook back up with Relocate and bring him back from the fountain if they buy back. So their priority should be keeping Loda alive. Now that he has a heart, that's a pretty easy task. 2350 HP with 22 armor. And Alliance, they don't really care about their left side. Yeah, they're pushing their T2, but Alliance is about to get mega creeps.
Yeah, exactly right. They'll gladly trade this tier 2 for a little bit of breathing room to finish off this tier 3. Glyph not going to be up anytime soon. Exorcism, and I think this is going to be mega creeps for Alliance. Fnatic will have to make one last stand here, and the Shiva is going to be used. Hani going to stand his ground against Loda. Loda taking a lot of damage. Era knows who he needs to focus, but Era just going to get destroyed when he hops in. As soon as Era falls, the GG's comes out. That's going to be it. Alliance going to do it. 22-7 here at the 30-minute mark. A very convincing win. Great use of that Death Prophet as well. Alliance showing us their versatility. They're working on these new heroes, and they're doing it well. Very well executed.
Yeah, I like the strategy coming out from them, and they ended the game before Anti-Mage got too big. His CS was, by and large, above anybody else's. His net worth wasn't actually above Death Prophet's at the end, but still, Alliance pushed at that very crucial time, and it's very difficult to execute with Death Prophet. You want to like end the game before her spirits like weaken, and before their late game gets too farmed, and Alliance pulled it off very well, even versus the delay tactics from Fnatic.
Absolutely right. So Fnatic can have a little bit of a rough day here. They're going to concede losses to both Poseidon and Alliance. They've got another chance, though. Going to be Fnatic versus Red Pandas coming up next here on Beyond the Summit for Starladder Season 8, Day 10. I'm Zayori. With me is Merlini. Thank you for joining us, folks. 2 more matches coming your way.